Do we leave it up to chance? I left it up to chance. I left it up to chance, and luckily, I was able to navigate the system in a way in which I was successful. I was in a couple of situations in there in which I could have been killed. Big riots, right? I was by myself, my family was not there. I had to make a decision. I had to learn the system, and I had to stay safe so that I can come out alive. And then I had to think ahead. So when I come out, what happens? Well, I need to stay out. I need to make something of myself. Just like you, I did not come from a bad family. I just made wrong decisions. Decisions are very important because they dictate where you're going to be in the future. Give me a second. This is a chocolate M&M. Who wants it? Raise your hand. You like it? You took it. That's what you wanted. You didn't think of nothing else but the delicious chocolate in your mind. Did you know that the FDA approves 60 grams of animal insect parts in chocolate? Right now, you're eating 60 grams of insect parts. If you knew that information before, would you have taken it? That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Making decisions based on the information we have available at that time does not mean you're making the right decision. You need to be fully aware of all the implications when you're making a decision. Today, you guys made a decision. You made a decision to come over here. You took ownership of your life today to learn something, to get well informed, so that you can make further decisions later that are going to be beneficial for you and your family, for that matter. In peanut butter, the FDA approves one or more hairs of rodents, rats, mice, in peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Will I eat it now? I haven't died yet. I'm going to continue to eat it. But things that we did not know. If I had known this before I took my first spoon of peanut butter, would I have eaten it? Would I have liked it? Would I have continued to eat it? I don't think so. That's why events like this are very important, right? You guys are young, just like I was at one time, many, many millennials ago. You are walking through the system trying to gain as much information so that you can make the right decisions. Young means that you need the necessary information to effectively navigate the system, understand it, fully informed in making the decisions. We have established that. It goes as far as I'm with my friend. My friend may be involved in some activities that are not good, but he's my friend or she's my friend. And I like hanging out, even though they're doing things that may not be good for you. Guess what happened? I was hanging out with my friends, and I went down for murder. I did not kill anybody, yet I had to serve 12 years in prison. If I would have known that that could happen, would I have been there that night? Hell no. Who wants to do all that time in there? When we're in school, I used to be a class clown, by the way. When we're in school, we oftentimes seek approval from other people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes, to gain that approval, we behave in a specific way. That way is not conducive to the environment at school, leading to detention, principal, calling moms and pops, punishment, whatever. If we know that that activity is not supposed to happen, why do we continue to do it? Because we're wearing a mask. The way that you talk to your mom, the way that you talk to the priest, the way that you talk to the police, the way that you talk to your friend is not the same way. You talk to each and every one of those differently. You're putting up a mask when you're talking to each and every one of them. I'm mentoring this kid from Kelly High School. When he's with his friends and we're in a conference, he just acts up. And I got to be like, Carlos, settle down. Why are you acting up? When his friends leave, he comes to me and he's very polite and cordial. And I'm like, why do you wear that mask? That's not who you are as a person. Why are you doing that? He, at that time, don't have a lot of information, so he cannot tell me why. I have a little education, so I can tell. You know, there's some emotional issues there that can go back to something that may be happening at home, lack of attention. Probably something that's been happening for some years. Would I have known that if I had not went to college and learned all this stuff that I don't know? I would be as bashful as he is. I would not know why is he acting like that. But I know where he's coming from. Knowing where he's coming from gives me an opportunity to reach out to resources that can help him out. Such as talking to a counselor or things like that. We are all wearing a mask. The problem that we have is that the longer you wear the mask, the more likely you become that. When I was hanging out on the streets, I wore my mask. What was that mask? The mask of a badass, I guess. Not really who I was supposed to be, but I needed to put that face out there because I needed to portray that I was part of that group. Who would have said that the same kid that would go to mass and could recite the whole thing will be capable of stealing a bike? Why did I do that? The influences outside of us are very strong. Peer pressure, bullying. It leads us to make quick decisions without having all the information available. But by being cognizant of that, you are able to navigate the system in a way in which you can learn more and more. Once you get to that point, then you become significant. As a young man, you guys are significant. As young women, you guys are significant. You are significant because it means that you are needed to ensure that our society addresses the needs of our communities through positive social change. Once you learn that, once you believe that, then the transformation begins. So guess what? Right now we have a whole bunch of communities that are underserved, underemployed, in low economic status. Hey, I ran a shelter, responsible for 95 lives. A lot of them were kids. Some of them were your age. And they were at my shelter looking for a home, looking for a way to make it. Because they did not take the opportunity to inform themselves early on what could happen. Mothers that were single, that did not have an education, that couldn't find a job. They had to start from scratch at the age of 30, 40. Hey, I started from scratch at the age of 32 when I got released. By now, I should be thinking about retirement. And I'm not going to be able to retire for a long time because I started late. Why leave it to chance? I come across a lot of kids that tell me, I don't need to go to school to make money. I don't need a college education to be rich. Maybe, but do you really want to take that chance? How many inventors here? All of you. How many smart people here? All of you. But there are external factors that may be pulling you away from really paying attention to what you're supposed to be paying attention. It may be colors. It may be blocks. It may be a family problem. We all have them. I went through my own. I'm a victim of sexual abuse at an early age by multiple people. Why am I able to talk about that stuff now in front of a whole bunch of people? Why do I put it out there? Because I'm just like all of you. I come from the same places that you guys came from. There's no difference. Because now I hold a position at a higher institution. Does that mean that I'm better than you? No, absolutely not. Do I still struggle up to this day with all of those demons that I got from my childhood? Yes, absolutely I do. Do I let that influence me in a negative way? Hell no. Because I'm not going back. I'm not going to go live in a shelter. I want to pay my own rent and have my nice car and buy my own food and not have to depend on no one. And I am blessed that I am able to do that. But in order to keep that, I have to continue on. I found my purpose when I came out because of the experiences of being homeless, doing drugs, alcohol, living on the streets, hanging on the streets, not paying attention to my significant family. I know that a lot of us face that, and so I'm out there in the community trying to reach out to as many as I can to let you know you decide. You can blame the system. It is what it is. You cannot blame the blue-eyed devil. It is what it is. But you can make something of yourself if you really pay attention and care about you, your significance. So right now I'm working in Brighton Park, trying to reduce violence, increase image in the community, doing community development by bringing businesses in. And in that group, there's a whole bunch of nonprofits and the police and all that stuff. Because I know that I bring something to the table to change our communities. So that the next generation, you guys coming up, don't have to face what I faced when I was your age. At the age of 16, I'm walking out of Benito Juarez with two friends. I'm walking down the street, 3 Latinos walking down the street. I just barely came from Puerto Rico, so I'm already culture shock on the American way. Because you know, in our country, my motherland is different. I'm walking down the street, getting ready to go home. A car screeches to a halt. A big white guy, old man, comes out of the car, grabs me by the neck, throws me against the fence, takes out a .22, puts it on my other friend and says, "You Latinos are not going to get away with it." Get away with what? I just came out of school. You guys broke my windows. You're not going to get away with it. I said, you know what? Take us back to school. The security guards seen that we just came out of school. We just came out of school. When he took us back, the security guard said, I see hundreds of kids coming out every day. I could not possibly tell you if they were there. So I ended up getting locked up for something I did not do. That, my friend, is called racial profiling. Yeah, 3 Latinos may have done it. What, do we all look the same? That was my first run-in with the law. Instead of grabbing that opportunity, if you will, and really learning about it, and understanding that this is racial profiling, I just became a rebel and stopped acknowledging authority. But if I would have done some research and known that the city of Chicago is a city that has been segregated forever, that there has been racism, that there's racial profiling, that there's a black and brown and white difference, maybe I could have went in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, this is a classic case of racial profiling. I can give you the schedule from school. I was at a homeroom today. I was not one of those kids. Being informed. Maybe I would have beat that one instead of getting 6 months probation or something like that and becoming a rebel. It's funny because later on in 1989, 1988, I'm already going to Clemente High School, and a teacher, a librarian, published a newsletter with an article about Latinos and blacks, that Latino fathers are sexual abusers who stay at home while the mothers go out to work, that the African Americans, all they live is for welfare. And I and another student, we looked at this and like, this can be happening, this can be published like that, talking about our cultures like that. So we gathered some information about this type of activity, and we knew that we can make an impact. So we actually put together a student strike and got all of the students out of Clemente onto the middle of Western Division, telling the administration to take her out. The classic Latino organizing movement, and I did not know at that time that I was doing that. Classic. That's what we do as Latinos. We organize ourselves, we become a power to change the system, changing the system. Why do we need to change the system? Because right now we are facing adversity. And we don't want our next generation to face the same adversity that we are facing. Why should we be responsible? Can anybody tell me why should we be responsible? By show of hand, anybody. Don't be shy. Why are we responsible? Or should we not be? Anybody? Go ahead. Because by gaining this information, we have the responsibility of sharing that with the next generation. Just like history books gives us information. We have a responsibility to do that because as a culture, we tend to segregate ourselves. And if we continue to live in an environment that doesn't make a change for the better of our people, we're always going to be not only looked at as a population that people don't want to mess with, but amongst ourselves, we're going to find chaos. And aren't you tired of all of that chaos that we find amongst ourselves? Don't we have enough struggles out there? When you guys get together at school and work on a project that can change the community that you live in, you guys will be able to make such an impact and be recognized as the next leadership coming to society to make a change. Then you become valuable. Then you become valuable. So one thing is to have a high self-esteem and know that you're significant. That's personal. But now, when you become valuable, that's external. That means that to the governor, that means that to the alderman, that means to the representative, that means to your community, you become valuable because you made a change. You were able to fix something in the system. You, right now as you are, have that power. When you get to that point, that's called maturity. Now you're acting like a mature individual because you understand what your role is in society. Acknowledging your power is going to come from outside. It's going to come from your family. So why all of this? When I was your age, I did not have this opportunity. This was not available to me. What you're going through right now here. The reason why this is happening is because in my generation, some people stepped up and said, we need to provide our population an environment that's going to be enriching in education so that they can move on to the next level, which is a college degree. And they put it together. I couldn't, I was awake. Somebody did, and that's the reason why you're here. Here you take the baton to take it to the next generation. So this is working, and a lot of you are going to go to college. But what else is happening that needs to change so that the next generation doesn't feel that impact? How many of you are already thinking about going to college? Raise a hand. All of you, right? You understand the importance of it. I would not have been able to have an opportunity to manage $1.2 million. I was given the responsibility of managing $1.2 million. I was paying staff, I was feeding the homeless, I was providing supportive services, I was getting kids vaccinated, registering to school. Who would have said that somebody that did so much time would have been given that opportunity? Well, number one, I had to prove myself, right? I had to show society that I could be a responsible person, that I could be a committed person, and that I do value the lives of other people and will do everything in my power to educate and help whoever is in need. And I continue my education. And that was very important because you can have all the experience that you have, but if you don't have a college education, you're only going to make it so far up the ladder. Everything is tied together. A credential allows you to get to a certain professional status, which gives you an ability to earn so much money. Plain and simple. Let's go forward. What car do you want to drive when you get to the age of 25? Huh?
I don't know.
A bike?
Car.
A car? What kind of car? What kind of car you like now?
Uh,
Go ahead and say Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Stop playing. Put you on a Datsun. Let's say you want to drive a Cadillac. Cadillac. Do you want to own or do you want to rent? You want to own a home. How many bedrooms? 3 bedrooms. Yard? Where? Where? Where you want a house? Here, Miami, in the woods? Cadillac, 3 bedroom. I'm gonna throw a swimming pool in there. With a car and a house come responsibilities. If you get a house, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay utilities, you have to have a phone, you're gonna have to eat. A Cadillac is gonna be like, what, $50,000, $60,000 on a 72-month financing, 0% annual per rent, all of that good stuff. We're talking about probably your monthly payment is gonna be about $700. And your mortgage payment is going to be about $3,000. And if you take that with all of the amenities that comes with that, and you got to pay for gas, you got to do maintenance, you might have to do maintenance, you got to clean it. My car needs to stay clean. My kids cannot eat in my car. I swear to God, they can't. You want fries? Step in the sidewalk. Get it out there. We're talking about with all of that, and I have not taken you out to eat. I have not bought you the latest gym shoes out there, the Jordans. I have not done nothing. I'm talking about basic home, car, with the responsibilities that comes with that. If you go ahead and multiply that monthly bill times 12, that monthly bill with just that times 12, that's the minimum salary that you need to bring into the household in order for you to make it. And I'm gonna have to send you to the food pantry because even with the food, you know, it might be difficult. Think about it. A GED or high school diploma is gonna earn you $8.25 to $10 an hour, which on a yearly basis, on that alone, is gonna be roughly $19,000 a year. $19,000 a year, a GED or high school. You increase your chances by getting an associate's degree to around $25,000. For a bachelor's, $30,000. Master's, $35,000. This is straight up coming out of college without any experience. If you tag on some experience in there, you're gonna earn a little more. Coming out straight, let's just take $30,000 a year. At $30,000 a year, you're more than likely not going to be able to afford that Cadillac. And you're more than likely gonna have to settle for a 2-bedroom in an undesirable area. It's not enough nowadays. Think about it. Do the calculations when you get a chance. There were some of us that did not think about that, so did not know how to acclimate to it. For example, myself. So when I got out, I never thought about it, but then I had to live on my own. And I was earning, but I was spending more than I was earning. And I'm like, what's happening here? I should be making it. I need to go get me a job that pays more money. And so I did that. And then I earned a little bit more money, but I continued to spend more than what I was earning. But then somebody sat me down and said, wait, what are you doing? Why are you spending more than what you're bringing into the home? You need to go on a budget. And I'm like, a budget? Budget, what's that? What's a budget? You need to go on a budget. So I start putting these numbers on a budget, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to clean my car like I always do, because I don't have it in the budget. I cannot take my kids out to a restaurant every time I used to, because I don't have it in the budget. I was suffering because I was really spending money, and now I had to stop. Oh my God, I got informed that if I spend more, common sense, right, than what I earn, then I'm going to be in trouble. And then it's the practice. So now that I'm in a budget, I have to practice to not spend more than what I bring in. That means I have to be serious about making these changes. Right here, modifying habits is very important. We don't like to modify our behavior because we're used to acting this way all the time. Really? I gotta change the way I am? I gotta act different? I gotta move in a different direction? Modifying habits starts small, and then you add on little by little and become a big habit modification, which can mean internally or externally. For example, I was cleaning my car like once a week. I had to modify my behavior and say, well, I'm gonna have to clean my car only once a month because of my budget. I was getting haircuts every other week. Well, maybe I need to let it grow a little longer before I get a haircut. My kids need a haircut? Maybe I need to go get trimmers at the store and cut their hair myself. Modifying our behaviors little by little is not as difficult as you may think, but you have to in order to get to the big picture, which is acclimating yourself to the environment that you're living in so that you can make right decisions, so that you can become powerful leaders in society.